Accelerators organization, hello, I'm Joel Gandara, and I had a little delay here. It's always something. I was all set up outside in my backyard, and a rainstorm decided to come in, and it was loud. It's still going on outside, so I had to relocate and move this. Hope everybody can see me fine here. Let's jump right into it. Actually, first I want to share with you a book that I shared in my AO forum that I lead, that a few of the people have gotten a lot of takeaway. Some of my coaching clients have found a lot of benefits in it. And it's Who, Not How. I believe the author is Hardy, and I really recommend that book because the whole premise behind it is that you don't need to learn everything. You don't need to know how to do all things in your business, but you do need to find the people who do know how to do that, because they're the ones who can connect us and help us and make crossing that bridge a lot easier than if we tried to do it completely on our own. All right, so let's jump right into it. The first question is from Carrington Crothers. Are lead generating funnels effective? Business description. Hi, I am a commercial product photographer specializing in e-commerce marketing for product advertising purposes. I have been reading up on marketing techniques and was wondering the effectiveness of lead generating funnels / sales funnels and your opinion on free incentives for email opt-ins. So are lead generating funnels effective? Yes, that's the reason they exist. I don't think that anything would exist for a long time if they did not work. But having said that, there are more effective ones, less effective, and then probably horrible ones out there. Right? So it's a whole range, just like there's hardworking, successful people, and then there's somewhat, and then there's nothing. So, or not as successful people. So there's a whole gamut there. And, you know, I actually went to your website, Carrington, real quick. I just wanted to see. So I only saw about, 5-10 seconds. And the reason I was interested in looking is because I own product-based businesses, and I've spent probably $750,000 on photography over the last several years. So I understand your business, but what I'm wondering is, why are you so concerned in just generating leads? Are you growing the businesses that you do have? To me, the photography side of the business is very personal, and it should be through relationships, right? Because it's a very important part of e-commerce. It's how we sell our products. We don't have a physical brick and mortar store to show the quality or the look or whatever. So we need people like you to make our products look fantastic on film, right, on camera, so that they'll sell better. So I believe that the best way to find clients, and yes, run funnels, run advertisement, give them whatever you need to get them to come in. If it's a free incentive, whatever that might be for an email, absolutely build that business. But I really believe that you could reach out to people and offer your services. I think there is power behind that. Don't discount that. You know, again, it's very important what you're offering for an e-commerce business. I'm assuming this is B2B, what you're offering. So you got to build a relationship, and you got to make phone calls and say, hi, I'm a product photographer. We have a company. Here's who we are. Here's what we do. We're fantastic at what we do. Can I speak to the person who makes decisions on the photography? I don't think that hurts, because you could have a few conversations, and whether you get sales out of that or not, there's always nuggets to be had. So if you could talk to those people, they may share with you some information and say, well, here's what we're paying for this, or here's the problem we keep encountering. Because after you compile that in your head, you're going to have a better script, and you're going to be able to fight those objections that people are going to give you, and really learn your market. So yes, to answer your question, lead generating funnels, yeah, go for it. Go do that. But really work with these companies and find the decision maker and grow it that way. Because I've worked with photographers that I've never heard the photographers I've worked with worrying about generating new leads and funnels. They're not product based. They're only so much they can scale, but their days are full and they're making a lot of money. And they'll probably work with 20 clients, and that's it, because those clients keep them so busy that they're very happy doing that. Now, if you've got or you plan on having a lot of photographers under you and you want to scale that and open that funnel up, absolutely. I wish you the best. All right. The next question is from Liv Gruber. And I know Liv because I coach her. And we actually talked about this the other day, but she had asked it ahead of time, I suppose. So let's take a look. And I always say this, remember, it doesn't matter, like in Carrington's situation, if you're a photographer or not. when you start hearing some advice on a quick, one-sided coaching conversation like you're hearing now, that should open up things in your mind and say, oh, that's an interesting approach to go handle that problem. I wonder if I could apply a little bit of that with my problem, right? And go from there. So let's see, Liv, what steps do we need to take to manufacture a product? We want to manufacture a specific lamp. I found a model that I like on Alibaba.com, but I would like to customize it further. I talked to a product design firm that could help us, but it will be relatively expensive to go through them. I know you can ask manufacturers on Alibaba to customize items for you, but I want to make sure everything is done right and of good quality. Well, Liv and everybody else who wants to produce a product, I own a lot of products in my warehouse right now. We probably have over 15,000 different SKUs, so we've built a lot of products. And I don't know that you want to start by making such a jump to an expensive product design firm. Why don't you give that factory a chance? They've been manufacturing this for a while. They know that particular product. There's not a lot of bells and whistles in the way they're going to present it to you. And if they're allowing you to customize it a little bit, you're probably going to learn a lot more by a little bit of trial and error. Tell them everything how you want it, have them send you pictures, and then have them send you the sample product so you can really take a look at it. But to me, that's one of the best ways that I learned. And I educated factories that I work with so that now going forward, I found a good factory, let's say for this one product. Going forward, it's a lot easier conversation because we've already been through it together. It's not just me saying, make me this. It's now, make me this, but without stating it, we have all these years or a decade of history together making products, and they know what I require. They know the quality. Just make sure you go step by step and examine the quality. And if you see red flags while you're talking, while you're negotiating, while you're getting to know each other, and by the way, this goes in personal relationships too, address those red flags. Don't ignore them. Don't think, they weren't too clear on this, and I don't know about that, and this is questionable. Let me go ahead with it. No, I don't care if you're dating someone, you see those red flags, be careful. Or you're manufacturing a product, be careful. Address everything, over-communicate, and talk about your requirements and what you need along the way to make sure that those are met. Next question is from Asia Small. With a $500 budget, what SEO marketing or Google AdWords marketing could I invest in? Is this budget too low to get any results? Are there any companies or people who could work with me at this pricing? My target audience is parents of teens in the U.S. The purpose of Prep LLC helps hardworking college-bound high school juniors and seniors make the college admissions process simple with our college admissions coaching and SAT prep services. So Asia, $500 might be enough to get started. You're going to have to keep reinvesting though. First of all, SEO, you're not going to see results for 6 to 8 months. Depending on the times, we've fluctuated between $3,000 up to over $7,000 a month in SEO spending, and I'm talking about almost a decade in my businesses. So SEO, I've invested in that, and we rank well in the words that we're shooting for in my businesses, so I understand that. However, keep in mind, SEO, like I said, 6 to 8 months. You're not going to see results right away. And if you're in a highly competitive field where today you're on page 8 of Google, do you have the wherewithal, the stamina, the discipline to hold on, and the budget to keep paying to get you to page 1 of Google? Because if you're not on page 1 for a certain search term, forget about it. And how often do you go to page 2 to look for search results, right? You're going to get 3-4 ads up top if it's a big thing, a popular category, and then you're going to get some organic placement down below, and that's probably it. So if you don't think you have the stamina, the budget, all that to keep going, I wouldn't worry about SEO right away. But you can maximize your website so that it can be as Google friendly as possible. So that Google will recognize it, and there are experts out there who can do this for you and who can make sure that you've set up the website in a way that it'll be good for SEO without spending money on SEO and writing articles and backlinks and all that sort of stuff. Google AdWords, that's a quick way to know if you're on track or not, because you're going to instantly see, the traffic that it brought you, and then you can judge if it's converting well. Just make sure your website is in the best position possible to succeed. It's not just about how many you bring in, it's about how many you close, because at the end of the day, it's only the sales that matter. It's not the traffic that you drive in. So make sure and be on top of that. And the other question was, ask, are there any companies or people who could work with me at this pricing? Maybe you're going to probably want to look at Upwork and look for people overseas. Make sure they have a great track record and that they have good feedback. And then, this is so specific what you're looking for. And this is where it really helps to have a network. I don't know why you're in this business. I don't know if it's because you have a history in it, because you worked at a company that did this. So whatever it is, or it's your passion, whatever it is, you should have a network around that, because there are people who do this sort of thing, who have businesses like that, right? So you should know who those people are. You should be friends with them so that you guys can talk about it. Just like somebody who sells products like a boutique apparel on a Shopify website, they have Facebook groups and they all share information and it's very open. You need the equivalent here, and you're not going to find it. There's not going to be big Facebook groups of people who do exactly what you're doing in this particular case. But I would go build that network. I would go talk to the owners of other businesses that do this exact thing. I have a friend who does, I think it's the exact same thing. He's in that same space. So that's where you need to build that network and have those kind of people around you who can help you with that. All right, let's take a look at the next question. It is from Martina Wenk. The question is from Martina Wenk. How to get stronger in motivating myself. I reviewed these questions really quick last night when I got them. And these are all questions are good, because if you don't know the thing and you want to learn more, ask questions. Sean Thomas says it all the time here in Accelerators Organization. Ask questions, take advantage. You have all these mentors offering you advice. Ask questions. But these are the types of questions that get me kind of excited. I'm all about motivation and all that sort of stuff. So how to get stronger in motivating myself. I run a home healthcare business in Switzerland. I am a nurse by trade. Doctors and hospitals refer patients to me, and I bill the insurance companies for services we provide. I sometimes feel I lose motivation and direction. How do I stay on track and keep motivated and moving forward? Thanks. Okay, Martina, why are you losing motivation? Why are you even running this business? Why are you in this space? Why don't you just go back to being an employee? I hope those type of things bother you. Like, wait, why is he asking why am I running this business? Because you need to answer those questions. There's a great book by Simon Sinek that probably most of you have read, and it's Start With Why, and figure out your why. You should be waking up every single morning, and something should be itching inside of you to get to the next level. If you don't have that, there's something wrong. It's either something wrong with you, or you're just not going in the right direction. You're in the wrong business. But you have to have a why. Otherwise, what are you doing this for? You just have a job? It's hard to stay motivated and be an entrepreneur if you're in the wrong business. I can tell you, if I was running nothing wrong with this type of business, but it's not for me. If I was running a janitorial company, I don't know that I'd be so excited. It's the wrong thing for me. And by the way, I was a partner and I owned a janitorial company years ago for a short time. And it wasn't my thing. I didn't feel it. I didn't want to be in that. And it's not that you have to find a passion exactly for the niche that you're in. But I hope that building a business, succeeding, leading people, creating leaders under you, I hope that's a motivator, right? So that if you're not doing it for yourself, I'll give you an example. I have a new business, formed partnerships. I hired a CEO. I got everything in place and it's going. That CEO, I brought him out of retirement. He retired in his 30s very successfully from an exit that he took. And so I'm excited to bring him in, and I'm excited to do all these other things in that business. But guess what my motivator in that company is? You're not going to believe this. My why in that business is to make a certain employee of mine that's taking charge on my side of the partnership, that person's running that part of it for me, is to make him a multimillionaire. That's my goal. So I've got a timeline. I know what I want him to have. I know what I want him to earn and build a net worth. And I'm coaching that executive of mine to get him there. That's my why. That in the morning, every time I realize, I have a call on that for that business, or they're emailing me about that business, the CEO wants to know something, then I could say, I don't really feel like doing that. Oh yeah, I want to make this person, I want to reward them by helping them become a multimillionaire. And guess what? That employee of mine knows it. That employee of mine knows that my dedication is to him on this project, and I want him to skyrocket and succeed. So he knows I feel that way. He's excited about it. I've expressed it. I'm excited. We built this collaborative excitement around it. So that's my why for that business. And I have different whys for different businesses. I have different whys to why I train jiu-jitsu 5 days a week sometimes, or why I might go for a run. There's a why behind everything I do. So read the book, Start With Why with Simon Sinek. I think you're going to get a lot out of it. And then here's the other thing. don't get comfortable and don't get complacent. I put myself intentionally in very difficult situations, sometimes mentally, because that's all it is. Unless you throw yourself in a lake with an alligator or a shark, in the ocean with a shark, that's very physically challenging and very hard. I'm not saying to do that, but do difficult things, whatever those might be. And, it could be, I've never run this distance, but I'm going to go and run that distance. Now, you should work your way up to it. You should warm up. You should stretch. You should buy the right shoes. You should do all the things you're supposed to do, but have this goal to get to this very uncomfortable thing that you want to do. So maybe the most you've ever run was 6 miles 20 years ago. Okay, well, I want to run 10 miles, and I want to do that within the next 10 weeks. Well, how do I do that? I got to prepare for it. No. The preparation alone will change your mindset. The action of crossing that finish line the day you do the 10 miles will further change your mindset and your attitude on everything. But here's another thing. Make it difficult. Make it where you don't just have to run 10 miles. You have to do that within, an hour and a half. Whatever the goal is, try to calculate what would be pushing it and a little bit difficult for you, and those sort of things. So I'll give you an example. When I train in jiu-jitsu, it's a martial art where we're very physical and you go 100% almost when you're fighting every night in training. And I will intentionally put myself in very difficult situations because I've learned that that's how you learn. So if we started in neutral, you and I against each other, it's neutral. I don't want that. I intentionally let the person kind of bring me down, get on top of me, fully mounted on top of me where I'm on my back, the person's sitting on my chest, and now let's go. The person thinks they earned that, and maybe they did, but I let them get there because now I want to figure out what I have to do. That's difficult. That's how you learn. That's how you grow. So, heck yeah, I love mindset questions. Put yourself in difficult situations. Figure out your why. Get a coach or a mentor, somebody who's done this stuff and knows how to get you excited about waking up the next day. And lastly, and you can tell I'm really into this, I enjoy growth. When we're growing, we feel happier. And that could be sales, it could be your savings, whatever it is. But if you're stagnant, it's not exciting. Like I get up super excited in November and December in my e-commerce businesses because I see the sales, what is it for? 5 figures already by the time I wake up in the morning in sales with 25% of that net profit. So it's fantastic. I love that. I get excited about that stuff. So start growing. Oh, and the other thing is start getting small victories under your belt. Those could be whatever. Those could be that, for example, the 10-mile goal we set. Okay, well, can you run a mile? Can you do that? Go run a mile and see what happens. See if you start feeling really good about yourself and you get endorphins in your body. And then guess what? Those in your brain, those endorphins lead over to business and they lead over to personal relationships and they lead over to all these things. That's why most CEOs will read 2, 3, 4 books a month. Most CEOs will exercise regularly. Successful CEOs, they do all these things because that helps you be a really well-rounded person and grow to the next level. Hope that helps. Let's see. The next question is from Tatiana Mehmeti. Should I be concerned about taking my staff on the boat for the day if a few of them are underage? We have been trying to come up with fun ways to reward our staff. After different recommendations from a few mentors, we are thinking about a big boat party on the lake. Trying to figure out if we allow them to bring a guest or limit it to just employees. My husband's biggest concern is the underage employees drinking. We do not want to be liable. Is this a bad idea? Should we think of something else, or how do we handle this situation? You guys realize how bad of a reader I am? I show myself every time I do these Facebook Lives and I read the questions. That's why I do audiobooks, because reading is not my thing. And by the way, good. I succeeded and I'm not even a good reader, so that's fine. All right. So Tatiana, I don't like needless liability. I don't like to put myself in danger where I could be sued or people can come after me. So be careful with that. As far as, I don't know how many employees you have that you're worried that underage employees will drink. Is this a yacht? Is this a cruise ship? Can you not keep an eye on them? How many people are we talking about? If this is 10 people, well, you should be able to monitor that, you should give them a wristband potentially of, a green wristband if you're over 21, and that way the bartender serves them. And make sure you don't have any of those extra wristbands, and don't tell anybody what color they're going to be on the day of. So they just show up, you hand them to the 21 and older. Don't let the bartender serve anyone under 21. Those are just common sense, basic things. Make sure, I'm assuming you're not in a third world country where there might be a lot of risk, but then if there is, there's probably not much liability and lawsuits going on there. So just make sure everything is, and I'm not an attorney. I would talk to an attorney. That's my advice. But if I was just doing this in a vacuum without an attorney, make sure the boat is doing everything right, such as life jackets. I've been on a boat with double capacity and no life jackets. You don't want to do that. That's scary. So be very safe about that. If this is the thing that you guys decided on, be careful on who they're bringing. If you are going to bring other people, for holiday events and things like that, I think it's cool to bring another person. But if you really want employees to bond, I don't like bringing another person, because if you do, they're going to go in their little silo of being with their friend, and they're not going to be bonding with the employees. And that's really what you want. And more importantly than just having a boat ride and make it fun, I would do things there that engage the employees with each other. It's always about building team, and that could be done competitions on the boat, right? You could do, I recently was hired by a local company here in Miami that had me come in and plan a day, right? So I was there 4 or 5, 6 hours for that day. And one of the things I did, because I did do a site visit at that company the first time, I noticed that the employees didn't talk a lot. They weren't really friendly with each other, and I found that kind of weird. So the first thing we did, and I ran it all by the entrepreneur, the CEO, just to make sure that I was going in the right direction. And we did kind of a getting to know you game, where I asked every single employee to email me ahead of time. They asked them to email me the whole, answer these questions for Joel. And they were 3 questions. Tell me 3 things about you that no one knows. And then from there, we played a little Jeopardy type game, and we had a winner. The winner in this case, I gave him an hour of free coaching, and it was cool, and it's worked out fantastic. And I also heard that the employees are connecting better after that. So I can share from experience just a few months ago doing something like that. If that's a need for your employees to have better teamwork, I would set up things like that. And my recommendation is not inviting others, although for a big holiday party, end of the year sort of things, we always do have them bring a guest. And if you're not too sure about anything, get an attorney to do that. Also, you definitely want to have waivers signed by the parents. If these are underage employees, you don't just take kids on a boat. That is some liability there. Alrighty. Next one, Brad Coleman. How you doing, Brad? Brad makes some beautiful shirts. He sent me a couple, and they're very nice. So let's see. How would you boost sales on Amazon? Hello, I own an e-commerce luxury brand where we manufacture and sell apparel. I have recently joined Amazon Seller to try and get more exposure. I know there is a lot to this platform. Would you recommend hiring a specialist to help sell? If so, where would I find someone to strengthen and strategize my account? My name is Brad Coleman, founder of Carbon Thread Designs, a luxury auto sports apparel fashion brand that creates and designs apparel for the auto enthusiast while incorporating carbon fiber into our design. Okay, Amazon is a whole monster. Amazon's not a little side hustle, usually. It requires full attention, like everything you should do in life, you should do it 100%. I would look for help. I mentioned it earlier about the book, Who Not How. I'd find somebody, whether this is a mentor who's been through that on Amazon and can guide you, whether it's someone you hire. But here's a key. Learn what they're doing. Don't hire someone and let them do a bunch of voodoo behind closed doors that you have no idea what's happening, Brad. Learn what they're doing. You don't have to be an expert, but you're early enough that you should be getting the basics down. I have friends who sell tens of millions of dollars. I'm thinking of 2 partners who are very good friends of mine. We work out together, and so they do tens of millions a year on Amazon. It's their own product, just like you, and they've really built that. And there's a few basic common sense things that I've learned from them, and then they've gone into detail explaining to my team a few more things, and I've learned from that. But there are some basics. Make sure there are product descriptions, nice product descriptions with keywords in it. If you could do video, if you could do nice photography. If they allow you 9 photos, use 9 photos or 14 or whatever it is, right? If they allow you to upload a video for each listing, heck yeah, do it. Those are things that are going to convert better. Very detailed descriptions, product makeup, details about every shirt. You're small enough right now that you can just write these up yourself. Go look at listings on Amazon who are phenomenal, where you know they're big time. They've hired an agency to do all that. Just copy them and retype it for your purposes. You've just saved yourself right there $5,000, and you're going to do it the right way, right? So that's what I would do. And the other one is never run out of stock. That's the number one sin on Amazon that you could do, is you work so hard to get up there and then you start running out of stock, and then Amazon doesn't like that because you're creating a bad experience for the client. So very basic, common sense things, and look for people who can help you. If you don't have the money up front, you can incentivize them based on hitting targets. But remember, Amazon takes a while. Just like success in life takes a while. It doesn't, you turn it on and boom, you go. You know, when I was a wholesaler, I used to sell to a very successful store, brick and mortar store. They were, 3,500 square feet in this niche industry selling these products. And they did very well in their store. But then something happened. They went online. And this is 15 years ago or 12 years ago. It was a while back. And they kept talking as if their store that was doing a couple $1 million a year, as if the website was going to replicate that. And I was a vendor to them. And I became friends with them. And I would ship to them and give them advice and talk to them. We became very good friends over the years. We still are. And they were shocked when they turned on the website and it did not explode like their brick and mortar store that they were used to running for 25 years, right? So they didn't get that. They didn't get that. Yes, it takes some time. Keep at it. Keep at it. Keep learning. There's so much information today on the internet, and there's Amazon conferences, and there's so much stuff. You know, when I started out, there was nothing. There was the internet. Yeah, it just started. And I didn't get anything out of it other than putting products on eBay. But yeah, you have so much at your fingertips that you can explore and go down that road of becoming very good at Amazon and getting some help. Next question is from Paulina Beck. How to raise email open rates. I've been sending out my weekly marketing emails for my accounting business, and my open rates are 8% for a contact list of 6,800. I use ActiveCampaign, and in the last couple of months, the open rate has been dropping. I keep trying different subject lines, but nothing has changed. So Martina, you're not selling a product, right? You're accounting business, okay, an accounting business. I know that to you accountants out there, including Paulina, this may come as a surprise, but we think of accountants not as bad as lawyers. You know, entrepreneurs think of lawyers are at the bottom. And then accountants aren't that much higher, because accounting is a necessary evil that we have to deal with, that we don't love. It's like, selling caskets. Nobody wants to buy a casket because that's a bad time in their life, but it's something you have to do. Accounting is like that. We mostly don't love it. We mostly love products and reselling them or offering our services to people. That's a lot more exciting. So 8%, I don't think that it's that bad. If people could comment on this video and share what their open rates are, I'd be very interested in seeing that. I have hundreds of thousands of active emails in my businesses, but I don't get an 8% open. I get it on my mailing list for coaching. There I do get a very high, like half or more open it. But those are like 700 friends and people who've signed up for my mailing list. People who have to get their accounting done, they're not absolutely excited about doing that. Now, I'll tell you this, I employ a couple of accountants, and there's a difference. One is a great accountant that gets all of our stuff done, checks all the boxes, does all this great stuff. The other one is a much more expensive accountant that does my tax planning, end of year taxes. They're both accountants, but they both bring a different value. Again, one is just checking the boxes, making sure everything is done fine, and that person is doing an excellent job for me at that. The other one is saving me hundreds of thousands of dollars a year in federal taxes. Think about which one I'd be the most excited about opening an email from. This one is going to tell me, well, let's say this one is going to give me IRS rules. You need to do this. The new law says this. It's not as exciting. This one's going to say, hey, there's a new way now. If you form a separate corporation where you can hire your kids, for example, and you can pay them each $12,000 a year, and they will pay zero in taxes, but you can deduct the entire thing off your taxes. And if you're at an almost 40% tax rate, and you have 2 kids, and you pay them $24,000 a year, what is that? That's almost $9,000 of tax savings. I'm going to open that email, right? If this one's telling me For every debit, there's a credit, and make sure to finish your books by this date. Not so exciting. And this one over here could start saying things like, there are opportunity zones for real estate investment where you'll pay no capital gains if the building raises in value if you invest in these certain areas. I'm interested in that. So it depends who your client is and what you're trying to get to them and what are they interested in. Again, you just got to bring tremendous value to the people. Next question, also from Martina Wenk. And I like it because let me scroll back up to the previous question that Martina asked. Martina had asked earlier about getting stronger and motivating herself. And this one's another mindset question. I love it. Martina Wenk asks, how can I stop being nervous and shy if I need to talk with important people about some things I need for my company to grow? Primary nursing, this is the business. It's a primary nursing taking care of patients at their home after hospital or accident or diseases. Great. So let's start thinking about it, Martina. Why would you be nervous in speaking to somebody who's important and who you need their information? You should be excited about that. Just look, it's all mindset. It's all in your head. What if you thought I was important to help you in your business, right? Maybe I'm not, maybe I don't know anything or I can't help you with your business, but what if you thought I was important? Is that going to change whether you speak to me? What if I'm not important? Then you're not shy about it? So I met a sports psychologist who works with athletes. I didn't go see him. I just happened to, this is when I was a real estate agent like 20 years ago. I had a suit on and I went knocking door to door, giving my card, telling them I was a neighborhood real estate agent. I was just hustling back then. And it was so cool because I met this guy and we talked for like a half hour. And he told me he worked with professional athletes on helping them overcome mental blocks. And I found this so interesting. This is why I love talking to people, because they bring so much value. And when I talk to people, I've been told by many that I don't go and brag about myself much. I try not to talk about myself because I'm bored of hearing my story. I've heard it 1,000 times. It's the reason I've never watched a video of me speaking. I get bored. I already know the story. I want to hear everything that everybody else has so I can grow. So this sports psychologist said that he'll talk to athletes and say, okay, we're putting this wooden board across the ground, right? And you have to walk across it. So let me have you walk across without falling off. And the board's only that high. And the athlete will walk across it. Perfect. And then he says, let's do it again. But this time, I want you to really imagine, and he gets in their head. And he talks to them and says, this wooden board is between two buildings. Skyscrapers, up like 50 stories up high. And they're right there, and you're going to cross that. But keep in mind, if you step off and you fall, you're dead. And he really just works in their head and works in their head. And guess what? They have tremendous difficulty crossing that board. They start getting nervous. They wobble. They're not very effective. I hope that starts clicking. So I'll tell you another story. When I was a freshman in college, I walked on to be a kicker for the football team. And there were 3 of us. There were already 2 guys that were fighting for the position. And then I came on a few days after them. And then I was fighting for the number 1 spot with this really good kicker. And the day before our first game, we did not know who the starting kicker was going to be. It was either this other guy or myself. And the coach said, I'm going to pull you guys one by one. I'm going to talk to you. I'm going to get in your head. And whoever succeeds today is going to be the starting kicker tomorrow, and probably for the season. Imagine that pressure. I was 18 years old, 3 months before I graduated high school. I'm here at this college trying for the number 1 spot as a starting kicker on a very good team. And he brings over one of the kickers, talks to him for like 10 minutes. And then he says, the plan was, we're going to give you 2 chances to kick this football through the poles. And there's a good chance you're going to miss the first one. And then you're going to make the second one. The coach just had it down, the kicking coach. And so he talked to this guy, talked. And finally they kicked. And he kicked them both right through, no problem. And then it was my turn. And if we both would have made it, it would have been really tough for the coach to figure out who's the starting kicker going to be. Well, he got in my head so effectively. He told me how many people were in the stands. He said, we're losing by 2, and you're attempting a 45-yard 3-point kick. I could kick a 50-yarder. No problem. All day in practice, I could kick 50-yarders. That's not an issue. And this was only 45 yards. and it's just the coach and I. The other kickers are way back there, 30, 40 yards behind us. No, nothing's happening. But he just talked, and he got in my head, and he told me, your family's in the stands. There's 20,000 people. If we win this, we go to a bowl game. He's just said every tension-filling emotion that he could say to me. And I got back, ready, snapped the ball, and I kicked it, and I missed the field goal by a foot or two. I kicked it high enough, far enough, but it just fell off to the side. So I wasn't the starting kicker that season. And guess what else? The second kick, it could have been a 55-yarder. I punched it right through the middle, drilled it, because he goes, oh, the second kick, there's no pressure. Go ahead and kick it however you want. I kicked it perfectly. So just goes to show, it is all between our ears. Whether we succeed or we don't, it's just the way you look at it. So I would start looking for small victories. I would start talking to people who you think are not as important. Go up to a stranger. How do you think guys feel? Guys have always been the one that have to start the conversation with girls. Yeah, we're nervous. And the guys who don't do it never get a girl. And the guy, or they don't get the one they were shooting for because they never built up the courage. That's life. So start small. Find some victories in that. Have a conversation with. If I was coaching you and we talked about this, we would have a spreadsheet. And in that spreadsheet, I'd tell you, here's how many you're going to start conversations with today. And some are going to be at the bottom, some are going to be at the middle, and then some of those you're going to shoot for the top, and I want you to rank them here. And we're going to keep track of that, and I'm going to keep you accountable, and here's how we're going to improve your performance. You do that for a month, you become a superstar, and then you're going to look back and say, I was so dumb. What was I scared of? Nothing happened. None of these people are going to punch you in the face because you went up and spoke to them, right? So I've made it a mission to connect with very successful people who I admire because I think that's pretty cool. And guess what? All of them, without exception, have been normal human beings. None of them have punched me or kicked me or spit in my face. They're all cool people. So start practicing reaching out to people. Set a goal, how many you're going to reach out by what day, and then start tracking those because that's the performance success. You're going to look back and say, well, look, I did all of that. What am I worried about? That worked just fine. So I hope that helps. Something we talked about in here, I mentioned at some point something, I believe, about reading a lot of books, exercising, putting yourself in difficult situations, and improving based on all those things. Those are some of the principles I live by. Those are some of the rules I have for my life where I have to read a certain amount. I have to exercise a certain amount. And I enjoy them, and I've learned to enjoy them. I hated running before. Now I run quite a bit, and I challenge you guys to look for opportunities to improve like that. Thank you for listening. Again, my name is Joel Gandara.